Welcome into the Playmakers. On Saturday, Jayhawk football fell in an attempt to continue the success they had against Rhode Island last weekend. However, soccer dominated against Kansas City, winning 3-0. Volleyball took all three games in their match against Northern Iowa to cap off a Jayhawk dominate.
Welcome back to the Playmakers. Let's just go ahead and get it started. Talking some football here. Ohio coming in hungry after a triple overtime loss to Texas State. And KU coming off their first win in almost 2 years. Ohio's first possession and its dual threat quarterback, Greg Windham Jr., on the keep. KU's defense wasn't expecting the run after he recorded a mere 37 yards previously. Fish-Smithson chases him down, the NCAA's lead tackler in 2015. The Jayhawk defense, however, was prepared for a strong passing game, as Windham had 400 yards passing in their season opener. Second quarter, bright spot of the first half, Equiviante Gonzalez, 99 yards to the house. KU's first score of the game. But special team inconsistency plagued KU this game, and this is the first of Gonzalez's muffed punts coming up next. He had two, and Coach DeForest's special teams unit, he's the new coach, looks strong except for this here. He took his eyes off the ball, something that Equiviante Gonzalez knows not to do. Ohio recovered that and led to another score. Second half started off with a connection from Cozart to Steven Sims on a fade route. Sims establishing himself as a reliable receiver opposite Gonzalez in the air raid offense. And actually here, a Cozart shoulder injury will sideline him for the remainder of the game, and Ryan Willis steps in, tries to mimic the throw to Sims, but an amazing haul-in by Ohio seals the deal. KU ends up falling 37-21 after a second half comeback falls short. Ohio outrushed KU 329 yards to 26, almost half of which belonged to Windham. And now let's take a closer look in this week's film room, Cap.
Let's do it. There were a lot of bad things to look at on KU's perspective, so let's just get right to it, why don't we?
All right, first clip, one of my favorite KU players. His name's Daniel Wise, number 96. Great on run defense, solid defensive lineman. Looking forward to seeing what he can bring into the play. Takes two offensive linemen to hold him back, and he's pretty much the star of this defense in my eyes. He has this very innate skills on projecting run pass, and he almost hunts like Ben Heaney did.
Yeah,
remember that?
they're
when
very
he could
similar
see.
players.
He just had this amazing sight. He reminds me a lot, actually, of Jay Howard from the Chiefs, who's also number 96 there.
Yeah, it's an apt comparison.
All right, next clip. This will be the first quarterback run by Windham. Bobcats offensive line blocking is superb, actually. His offensive line is full of upperclassmen. Mm-hmm. There's upperclassmen with juniors. There's one sophomore, but he's a second-year starter.
A lot of experience on that line.
Mm-hmm, and it's kind of rough for our Jayhawk defense to get past that, especially under a Greg Solich coach team.
The Jayhawk defense is very young, having to replace a lot of guys from the last 2 years.
Yep. Okay, so here, with Jordan Shelley-Smith sitting out, Joe Gibson steps in at left guard, or actually maybe kind of steps down. There, look at that. See, that's actually where the KU's offensive line made a really clear pocket, something that they should be really proud of. And notice that Joe Gibson, number 77, isn't in there on that one.
Yep.
He was replaced by Jason Rhodes. It was a beautiful, clean pocket. This is actually the play where Cozart hits Smith deep.
Well, he had so much time because he had that pocket. Everything starts with the line offensively and defensively. And on this play, Montel Cozart had a ton of time to throw the ball, so he was able to see Sims Jr. on the fade route, and that's what set up the touchdown.
Yeah, and this has to be one of the keys looking forward. Cozart with time. Here he turns to hit Sims on the bubble screen. And this actually is not a very good throw, as you will see here.
No, they call this in the football realm a wounded duck. So the receiver there wasn't able to hold on to the dying bird, if you will.
It takes a talented receiver to actually be able to haul that in.
It really does. And KU has a few budding ones, but they haven't established themselves well enough yet to make those catches.
Yep. And next clip, this right here is actually what I like to call hunting. Deneen takes a shot here and stifles the run. Actually, Joe Deneen out of Free State here in Lawrence, recruited as a quarterback, transitioned to running back, and now he's a linebacker.
Well, he found his niche, and like you said, he hunts the ball carrier, and he is really good at hitting the ball carrier and stopping them. So, Nicole, we have seen a lot of tape of KU, so who do you think, this is the story all year, who do you think is going to be the starter for the rest of the year?
I really think that it will be Cozart. He has the experience, he has David Beatty's trust, and Willis just doesn't have quite the experience that Cozart has. Maybe his abilities aren't completely perfect, and maybe his style of play isn't exactly perfect for this offense, but he is the right man for the job right here, and based almost solely on experience.
Last week I talked about the stat yards per attempt, and I said based on the performance last week, Willis had the advantage. But this week, Willis was 1 for 5 for 8 yards, which is not a good performance by any stretch of the imagination. But the yards per attempt were 1.6. And I don't care who you are, that is not good enough to play in any league ever. So Cozart will be the starter, at least for the foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm. Yes, especially if they want to get anything on this offense running up to a D1 caliber, which is essentially what Beatty's trying to instill. Hopefully it works.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk soccer, volleyball, and golf, so stick with us.